Baba Masnath University, Asabo, Rohtak. She has PhD from BMU Rohtak and MCOM begun from IIM Rohtak. IIM Pune, sorry. She has already published one book and 7 under publication alongside had 39 research papers approved by UGC papers that presented internationally and nationally on several lands. She has been awarded the Best Teacher Award by Baba University in 2018 and also by the MERI CET for securing 100% continuously for 3 years in 2016. Now, give a huge round of applause for her welcome. Ma'am, we welcome you on this platform. Please come and give you some lecture on your topic. Jaspreet, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Renu, for introducing me. And now, without wasting much of the time of the students, I would like to continue with my topic. And I'm going to share the screen. I hope the screen is visible to you all now.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am, it is visible.
It is visible.
Dear scholars, during the research work, we all used to face the problem that what and how we are going to pursue, how we are going to proceed further, how we are going to accomplish our PhD. हमारे माइंड में एक यही क्वेश्चन चलता रहता है, क्या, कैसे, किस तरह से हम करेंगे, what, how, when, and from where we are going to get the information. So इस information के लिए हमारे पास माइंड में एक कंसेप्ट क्लियर होना बहुत जरूरी है, दैट हाउ वी आर गोइंग टू राइट अ रिसर्च प्रपोजल. एक रिसर्च प्रपोजल हम कैसे लिखने वाले हैं, वो चीज हम यहाँ पर समझेंगे एंड वी आर गोइंग टू ग्रास्प द इंफॉर्मेशन. आई होप आफ्टर द एंड ऑफ द सेशन यू पीपल विल बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट हाउ यू हैव टू राइट द रिसर्च प्रपोजल. So first thing which we should know that what's the plan, what is a research proposal. एक research proposal को समझना बहुत जरूरी है कि research proposal चीज क्या है and how we are going to work on it. So a research proposal is your plan. एक plan है, प्लानिंग है जिसके ऊपर आपने पूरा 2 साल काम करना है and you will have to move on it step by step for the accomplishment of the goals which you are going to define as an objective in the research proposal. So it describes in detail your study. Your study is being described in very detailed form here in the research proposal. जो भी आप करना चाह रहे हैं उसको डिटेलिंग में हम यहाँ पर मेंशन करेंगे. Decisions about your study are based on the quality of the proposal. आप किस तरह की क्वालिटी को यूटिलाइज कर रहे हैं, किस तरह का प्रपोजल बना रहे हैं, उसकी क्वालिटी क्या है and how it is going to recommended going to pay to the society as well as the human culture. So ये सारी चीजें जो हैं ये आपके रिसर्च प्रपोजल को इफेक्ट करती हैं. That you have to make a mindset that how we are going to work on it. Approvals to proceed by the institutional review board. सबसे important चीज क्या है कि जब आप रिसर्च प्रपोजल लिख रहे हैं then you will have to understand one thing कि जो आप रिसर्च प्रपोजल बना रहे हैं वो क्या इंस्टीट्यूशनल रिव्यू बोर्ड से क्लियर हो जाएगा, क्योंकि वहां से वही चीज क्लियर होगी which is going to pay something to the society, which is going to be fruitful for the society. तो उसी चीज को हम अप्रूव करेंगे. So what is a research proposal? Also, it also deals with the ideas of researcher. Research proposal basically researcher के ideas को explain करता है. ये totally researcher पे depend करता है कि वो क्या research proposal बनाने जा रहा है, and it depends completely on the researcher. But the basic thing is that it should answer the following question, that what research he or she wants to do. किस तरह की रिसर्च करने जा रहे हैं, किस तरह के ऑब्जेक्टिव्स हम रखने जा रहे हैं, क्या ऑब्जेक्टिव्स रखेंगे, क्या मेथोडोलॉजी हम यूज करेंगे, कितना टाइम हम कंज्यूम करेंगे, कौन से रिसोर्सेज हम अकम्प्लिश करेंगे, एंड हाउ द रिसर्च फाइंडिंग्स आर टू बी रिप्रेजेंटेड. हम जो फाइंडिंग्स निकालेंगे हम उनको किस ढंग से रिप्रेजेंट करेंगे, ये सारा माइंडसेट आपके पास है. स्टेप बाय स्टेप आपको इनके ऊपर सोचना है. जब आप इस पे सोचेंगे then only you will try to find out the solution for all these questions. और जब इनका solution आएगा तभी हमारा research proposal तैयार होगा. So importance क्या होती है research proposal की? It is a kind of contract between you and your committee. Committee is the organizational committee. You serves to protect the student. आपने क्या करना है? कमेटी जो है वो क्या काम करती है? वो स्टूडेंट को प्रोटेक्ट करने के चलती है, और जो स्टूडेंट प्रोटेक्ट्स द कमेटी फ्रॉम द स्टूडेंट, स्टूडेंट को कमेटी से और कमेटी को स्टूडेंट से प्रोटेक्ट करना है. द थिंग इज स्टूडेंट जो है वो पुअर क्वालिटी का काम ना करके दे, वो कमेटी को बचना है, और स्टूडेंट जो है वो एडिशनल रिक्वायरमेंट गेन करता रहे. ये एडिशनल रिक्वायरमेंट स्टूडेंट के हम लोग फुलफिल करते रहे, ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस फुलफिल करते रहे, ये बेसिक नीड है. The proposal should have sufficient information. आपका जो प्रपोजल आप तैयार करेंगे उसके अंदर एक ब्लूप्रिंट है, एक नक्शा है आपके काम का, पीएचडी के काम का जो आप करने जा रहे हैं. तो उस ब्लूप्रिंट को, उस प्रपोजल को आप कंप्राइज फॉर्म में और विद लॉट ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन यू हैव टू क्रिएट so that your readers can come to know about the important facts of your research ideas. जितने भी आपके research ideas के important facts हैं उनको वो समझ सके, थोड़े में ज्यादा knowledge gain कर सके, that you have a good grasp of the relevant literature. वो ये चीज भी describe करे आपका research proposal. कई बार क्या होता है, people come along with if we ask them how many reviews have you done while preparing the research proposal, so many of the research scholars come along with the answer that we have gone through 10, we have gone through 5, we have gone through 7. So this number is not the sufficient number to gain some kind of information. If we want to gain the information, we have to go through the relevant literature in ample number of quantity, and we have to find out the major issues which are being done or which are being highlighted by those researchers, by those reviews. And you should also have a good command on the methodology which you are going to use in your research proposal. Abhi to we are only discussing about what should be there in your mind. We are discussing about the points कि आपके mind में क्या-क्या चीजें होनी चाहिए while working on the research proposal. So a research proposal is intended to convince others. Research proposal क्या होना चाहिए? It should have the capability कि वो सामने वाले को convince कर सके. Along with the confidence you are having on your book. Scholar का confidence and paper, they both speak together. If your paper is having the weightage and you are having the confidence to define your work, your proposal is definitely going to pass through. But if any of the one thing is lacking somewhere, then definitely you are going to face some kind of hurdles. The research proposal should highlight the key elements. Key elements means the areas on which you are going to focus in the research proposal. Those key elements should also be highlighted in its sufficient information should be there for the research readers and for the evaluators who are going to read out that what you want to do in the future in this research proposal. So while working on all this, you have to or you need to answer the following question, that what you plan to accomplish. आप क्या achieve करना चाह रहे हैं? What you want to gain out of it? What you are going to achieve out of it? Why you want to do it? आप क्यों कर रहे हैं? क्या कारण है जिसकी वजह से आप ये रिसर्च कर रहे हैं, एंड हाउ यू आर गोइंग टू डू, और आप किस ढंग से इसको पूरा करने जा रहे हैं. यू हैव टू जॉट डाउन दीज क्वेश्चंस एंड यू हैव टू मार्क द आंसर टुवर्ड्स दीज क्वेश्चंस, सो दैट इफ यू आर एबल टू आंसर दीज क्वेश्चंस टू योरसेल्फ, यू आर नॉट टू आंसर दीज क्वेश्चन टू एनीबडी एल्स. किसी और को आंसर नहीं करना है, यू हैव टू आंसर इट टू योरसेल्फ. एंड इफ यू आर एबल टू आंसर दीज क्वेश्चंस टू योरसेल्फ, definitely your problems are going to reduce in the future while working for the research proposal. Essential ingredients क्या होते हैं एक research proposal के? The issue. What problem does your research address? इसको हम टाइटल की फॉर्म में भी ले जाते हैं कि हमारा जो रिसर्च है वो क्या, कौन सी प्रॉब्लम की, कौन सी सोसाइटल प्रॉब्लम को हाईलाइट करने वाला है, किसके ऊपर हम लोग वर्किंग करने वाले हैं, एंड हाउ वी आर गोइंग टू एड्रेस ऑन. अपार्ट फ्रॉम इट हमारा रिसर्च डिजाइन क्या रहेगा, हाउ विल द रिसर्च अचीव इट्स ऑब्जेक्टिव. भाई हम कुछ ऑब्जेक्टिव्स रखते हैं, अभी हम ओवरव्यू ले रहे हैं. In further slides you are also going to learn about the sequencing of the research. So right now we are only taking the overview, so don't panic about it. कि what we are going to go through. सिर्फ आप ये चीज समझिए कि इस टाइम पर जब when we are a fresher to the research, हम सब एक fresher हैं रिसर्च के मामले में, और हम सबके माइंड में ये अलग अलग चीजें घूम रही हैं. रिसर्च डिजाइन, एक ने बोला रिसर्च डिजाइन तैयार करना है, दूसरे ने बोला मेथोडोलॉजी तैयार करनी है, तीसरे ने बोला कि रिसर्च प्रॉब्लम तैयार करनी है. So this all is being required, but right now we are answering to different questions which are gaining strength in your mind. So second thing comes, that is research design, that we have to design the objectives which we have to achieve in the future while doing the research. Benefits: what will the research contribute? How it is going to contribute to the society, how is it going to contribute to the economy, that both goes hand in hand towards the upgradation of the development of the nation. Along with it, online steps in your proposed research needs to be taken care. Online steps means that how you are working on your research paper, how you are working on your research area, how you are going to work on the research title, that all have to be taken care. Internet, no doubt, internet is a hub of information, educational information, lot of information you can avail from the internet. But still, you'll have to take care of one thing in your mind, that if you are gaining the information from the internet, lots of people will feel pity on the people when they come to at the conclusion of the research work, and at that time they find that the thesis is full of 80% of plagiarism. So that needs to be taken care of. That is an important area which you have to take care, that you should not copy paste any of the thing from the online source which has been available on the net. So provide yourself with intellectual context. बहुत सारी information आप gather कीजिए. Be creative. Justify your research. This all you have to do with your own. ये एक self analysis exercise होती है research proposal को तैयार करना. Research proposal को तैयार करते टाइम आप जितना ज्यादा अपने आप से communicate करेंगे, उतने ज्यादा आपके फंडे जो हैं वो towards your research clear होते चले जाएंगे. So you have to justify your research to yourself, that how you are going to justify. किस ढंग से हम इसको बिल्कुल flow में लेके आएंगे, that how it is going to work for the society. Think through your experiments. Keep on experimenting again and again. कहीं आप अपने objective, you are defining your objectives, and if you are not able to find out the solution, that what kind of test in future we can avail on it. So in that case, you'll have to rethink about the objective. यहीं पर यही time है proposal बनाते time that you can rethink about the objective कि हमें आगे ये problem आ सकती है. So how I am going to overcome this problem. एक mental exercise पजल सॉल्विंग की चलती रहेगी जब तक आपका जो रिसर्च प्रपोजल है वो रेडी नहीं होगा. एंटिसिपेट पोटेंशियल प्रॉब्लम्स एंड एंटिसिपेट रियलिस्टिक टाइम टेबल मींस दैट यू हैव टू डिवोट द टाइम टुवर्ड्स योर रिसर्च. डोंट थिंक अबाउट इट कि आई एम बिजी, आई वाज बिजी विद माय जॉब, आई वाज बिजी विद माय फैमिली, आई वाज बिजी with my other day-to-day chores. So you have to take out the time for your research. You'll have to gain the information. You'll have to work on, you'll have to sit on the system. You'll have to work on it. You'll have to go to the library. You'll have to access the data. Then only you are going to accomplish a good research. Now comes the basic mudda, that is structure of the research proposal. ये बहुत important part है कि हमारे research proposal का structure क्या होना चाहिए. People come along कि हमें नहीं पता कि क्या क्या concept आते हैं, क्या क्या main heads आते हैं, क्या क्या points हमने cover करने होते हैं. So this thing is the basic thing which we all have to cover, from wherever we are going to do our PhD, from wherever we are going to present our research proposal, and wherever we are going to present a proposal, any kind. So your synopsis research proposal should include the following things. First thing is introduction to the topic. Apart from the front page, the first thing which should come into the context of the observer is the introduction to the topic. Then comes statement of the problem, need of the study, aims and objectives of the research, review of literature, research gap, materials and methods, chapterization, which you are going to do in your thesis, and then the references. Now we are going to do it all together. So here we are doing is saying introduction to the topic. But before giving introduction to the topic, the basic thing which comes is your title. Right? हम introduction topic का तभी देंगे ना जब हमारा topic clear होगा, and topic is title. What is the बहुत बड़ा question है, what we are to do, what we are to do out of this PhD, what we are going to do in this research paper, and what we are to take out of this material. बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस हैं जो व्हाट से शुरू होते हैं और हमारे टाइटल पे आके खत्म होते हैं. सो आर इट शुड बी कंसाइज एंड डिस्क्रिप्टिव. हमारा जो टाइटल होना चाहिए वो बहुत ही कंसाइज होना चाहिए, कंसाइज फॉर्म में और डिस्क्रिप्टिव फॉर्म में होना चाहिए. मींस इट शुड एक्सप्लेन व्हाट वी आर गोइंग टू डू इनसाइड इट. लाइकवाइज हम अपना नाम रखते हैं, हम अपने घर में कोई भी बेबी होता है तो उसका नामकरण करते हैं, नाम रखते हैं बच्चे का. देन हम एक दूसरे से पूछते हैं व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ दैट नेम. वो नाम हमारी पर्सनालिटी को डिफाइन करता है. सेम वे नाम आपके थीसिस का, आपके टाइटल जो हैं वो आपके वर्क को डिफाइन करते हैं कि व्हाट काइंड ऑफ वर्क यू विल बी गोइंग टू डू, और इन फ्यूचर इट इज गोइंग टू रिप्रेजेंट इट व्हाट काइंड ऑफ वर्क यू हैव डन इन योर थीसिस. सो टाइटल को बहुत सोच समझ के डिफाइन करने की जरूरत होती है. Often, titles are stated in terms of a functional relationship. It defines the relationship between the independent and the dependent kind of variables which we are going to use in our research. If it is possible, we have to be an informative and catchy in the area of title. हमारा जो title है वो बहुत informative होना चाहिए और catchy भी होना चाहिए. This thing catchy और informative हम क्यों करते हैं? So that readers should get attractive towards our research title. जब title अच्छा होगा तभी हम सोचेंगे ना कि हाँ इसके अंदर क्या है, हम उसे जानने की कोशिश करेंगे. सेम वे कोई मूवी रिलीज होती है, आपको ट्रेलर पसंद आता है, तभी आप उसके अंदर जाते हैं, देखना उसको देखने की कोशिश करते हैं कि मूवी कैसी होगी. सेम वे आपका जो टाइटल है वो आपके इसको डिफाइन करेगा कि आपका रिसर्च वर्क कैसा है और कैसे हम इसके ऊपर काम कर सकते हैं. किसी ने अगर पढ़ना है आपका रिसर्च पेपर, उसको साइट करना है, तो वो तभी करेगा जब उसको टाइटल पसंद आएगा कि हाँ दिस इज एन अट्रैक्टिव टाइटल, दिस मस्ट बी कैरिंग सम काइंड ऑफ इंफॉर्मेटिव नॉलेज. तभी वो आपके रिसर्च वर्क को पढ़ेगा और उसको साइट करेगा. देन कम्स एलिमेंट्स ऑफ अ टाइटल. एलिमेंट्स ऑफ टाइटल में क्या क्या आता है? फर्स्ट पेज जो बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट होता है, which is going to represent whatever is there in your synopsis. तो फर्स्ट पेज में क्या आएगा? आपका टाइटल आएगा, रिसर्चर का नाम, इंस्टीट्यूट का नाम, नेम ऑफ द सुपरवाइजर, name of co-supervisor if any, and date. In selecting the title, you need to take care that it reflects the theme of the research. Research का theme reflect करे, self-explanatory हो, brief हो, language simple हो, specific हो, brackets, arithmetic figures should not be there, और confusing double-sided meanings नहीं होने चाहिए, whatever word you are using in framing your title. Next step which comes is title ka specimen. I have uploaded in my presentation at last. You might be getting it in the last, so not to worry. Exact specimen you will be getting it out. So introduction. Introduction क्या होता है? हमने start किया था ना? Earlier we have come to the thing. Introduction to the topic. पहला element हमारा structure क्या है? Introduction. Now the first thing comes कि introduction हमारी कैसी होनी चाहिए? So इंट्रोडक्शन का मतलब क्या होता है? इंट्रोडक्शन स्टेट्स कि भाई हम जिसके बारे में बात कर रहे हैं वो क्या चीज है, उसके बारे में प्रिसाइज. देखो, एक वन थिंग वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट whatever the paper we are representing, वो पेपर ऐसा होना चाहिए कि हम ये मान के उसको फ्रेम करें कि सामने वाले को कुछ नहीं पता उस पेपर के बारे में. If I want to explain a pen, what a pen is, तो ये मान के हमें लिखना होगा कि सामने वाला जो उसको पढ़ रहा है आपके पेपर को, उसे नहीं पता कि ये पेन क्या चीज है. हमने उस ढंग से पेन को डिफाइन करना है, बट डिफाइन इस फॉर्म में नहीं करना कि वो उसको पढ़ता पढ़ता बोर हो जाए. हमें प्रिसाइज फॉर्म में उसे डिस्क्राइब करना है. So necessary background information we have to share in the introduction related to our title. जो हमें मैंडेटरी है, जो नेसेसरी है, नेसेसरी बैकग्राउंड इंफॉर्मेशन कि भाई ये टाइटल है, ये कहाँ से जनरेट हुआ, कहाँ कैसे ये यहाँ तक पहुंचा, एंड हाउ वी आर गोइंग टू कोरिलेट इट विद अलोंग विद आवर टुडेज रिसर्च प्रॉब्लम, वो हमें डिफाइन करना होगा. हाउ टू फ्रेम द रिसर्च प्रॉब्लम इज परहैप्स द बिगेस्ट प्रॉब्लम इन द रिसर्च प्रपोजल राइटिंग. सो दिस इज गोइंग टू बी द बिगेस्ट प्रॉब्लम, बट हियर इन दिस lecture we are going to learn about how to overcome this problem, because after going through this lecture I hope that Writing a research proposal is not going to be the biggest problem for you guys. So next thing, first try to place your research question in the context of either a current hot area or an older area that remains viable. आपको अपने research questions को सामने रखना होगा कि भाई क्या कैसे क्यों हम करने जा रहे हैं उन क्वेश्चंस को you'll have to keep it in front. Secondly, you need to provide a brief and appropriate historical background. You'll have to settle down the backdrop. एक background को तैयार करना होगा. You'll have to set out the backdrop and then you'll have to define that provide the contemporary context in your proposed research question occupies the central stage. जो आपके research questions आपके mind में हैं, that should occupy the mainstream in the introduction, and it should identify the key players and refer to the most relevant and representative publication. तो बहुत ज़्यादा अच्छी publications हैं regarding your research titles. From there, you'll have to gain the information of your introduction of the title, which we are going to do work on. So in short, try to paint your research question in broad brushes. Your questions which you are going questions which are there in your mind, which you are going to answer in your research proposal, which you are going to explain in the introduction, should be eye-catchy and should have the mainstream in the introduction. They should be highlighted, they should be explained properly in the introduction, but in concise. Introduction basically covers the following elements. State the research problem. That is very important to explain as a part of the introduction, that what the research problem is on which you are going to make this research. Provide the context and set the stage of your research question in such a way as to show its necessity and importance. You'll have to show the necessity of your research and the importance also. You'll have to present the rationale of your proposed study and clearly indicate why it is worth doing, why you are going to do the research. That should also be identified, presented by giving the importance of the study. Briefly describe the major issues and some problems to be addressed by your research. Identify the key independent and dependent variables. That is the most important thing in your introduction, that you'll have to identify the variables of your experiments. Set the delimitation and boundaries of your proposed research, which can be that this is going to be a tentative funda for the introduction. Then comes the chapter second part of the research proposal writing, that is the literature review. We take it very lightly कि भाई literature review जो है वो इतना importance नहीं है research proposal के लिए. That's why we go for mentioning hardly 5 or 10 reviews in the research proposal. But sorry to say that research proposal, review of literature plays the major part in the proposal. So you'll have to make it more catchy, more attractive. And how it is going to be done? When you will be going through more and more reviews. Whenever we go from the reviews, we are going to gain the information out of it, that what, how, where, and in which way the research is being done, and you will come to know about the findings. You will come to know about the structure of the review from the review of the literature. When you will come to know about the structure of any kind of research, from there you can take out the research gap. और जब आपका research gap निकल के आएगा, from research gap you can define your objectives. When you will define your objectives, gap से आपके objectives निकलेंगे, objectives से आपके hypothesis, and objective or hypothesis से निकलेगा आपका title. Final title will be there. So it is important to go for review of literature in bulk. When you accomplish it in bulk, then you can come concise to it, and then you can frame a better objectives, better hypothesis, and a better kind of title can be framed out of it. Review ensures that you are not reinvesting the wheel. You do remember one thing: doing the research again and again on the similar thing is not feasible. Research states that you can do any kind of research, any kind of study can be repeated, but time and place needs to be different. You cannot do the study on the same title at the same time and at the same place again. So you have to change the place, you'll have to change the area, you'll have to change the time. तभी उसे हम क्या कहेंगे, रिसर्च, दोबारा से करी गई रिसर्च, वो होती है रिसर्च. It gives the credit to those who have laid the groundwork for your research. आपने जिनको अपने थीसिस में, जिनको अपने प्रपोजल, रिसर्च प्रपोजल में आपने जिनके काम को बेस माना है, review of literature shows them a concise of credit that you are mentioning, you are acknowledging them while mentioning their research and work done by them in your proposal. Demonstrates your knowledge towards the research problem. It also identifies that how much knowledge you people are having towards your research problem. If you are correlating the exactly similar reviews from related to your research problem, then only we will be able to understand that you are having a better knowledge about your research problem. Research issues related to your research questions, you should have the theoretical and practical knowledge about your research questions, ability to critically evaluate the literature information. You should evaluate the information by making a table ki, what the research is explaining, what kind of objectives it is having, what kind of hypothesis it is having, and what kind of finding tests they have applied to accomplish the objectives and hypothesis, and what the result was there out of the research which we are taking as a base for our problem. Synthesize the existing literature. You'll have to synthesize it again and again to make it feasible, to make it reusable. Develops a new model from the existing research only, taking it as a base in the secondary data. You can make a new model for your research problem. Significant and substantial contribution to the literature. It will make a concise readers will be having a concise figure about the substantial contribution you have taken from the literature. That is the most important part in the review. You have to take a note every time whenever you go through any kind of literature review. Take notes. Keep a diary in your hands. Always make notes from your working, जो आपके working notes हैं वो हर time it should be ready with you, so that उसका working notes का फायदा क्या है हमारे को, it is going to help us, it is going to avoid plagiarism. When we are working on the paper, when we are jotting down the things in our own words on a piece of paper, and we are going to type it in the system for collecting the information, definitely it is going to be flag free. See, flag cannot be avoided. Flag is always there because various terminologies are there which we cannot change. That is a part of it. So what we have to do, we have to explain the things in our own words. And when you are writing the sentences in your own words, you are taking notes, you are making handouts for your research work, then only you are going to be safe from the plagiarism. Now the question comes of methodology. What kind of methodology should be there? So methodology जो है वो एक बहुत important part है research proposal का. Methodology states कि आप किस ढंग से काम करते हुए आपने review कर लिया, आपने introduction कर लिया, आपने अपने objectives define कर लिए, अपने hypothesis define कर लिए. But what's next? How we are going to walk through the research process to achieve our objectives? That part, that area is being covered in the chapter, in the area of methodology, that how we are going to achieve our objectives. The objectives कैसे achieve होंगे? This we have to define it in the methodology, and methodology includes various things, that is design, subject participants, instruments, procedures. Everything is a party to it. So you have to define, make a clue that किस ढंग से कौन सा डिजाइन हमने अपनाना है, दैट इज आल्सो पार्ट ऑफ मेथोडोलॉजी. कौन से टूल्स हमने अपनाने हैं, दैट इज आल्सो पार्ट ऑफ मेथोडोलॉजी. वो टूल्स कौन से रहेंगे, दैट कम्स फ्रॉम वेयर, फ्रॉम योर ऑब्जेक्टिव्स ऑब्जेक्टिव्स और हाइपोथेसिस आपको बताएंगे कि आप कौन से टूल्स डिफाइन कर सकते हैं which are going to be fruitful for justifying your research. आपका एरिया क्या रहेगा जहां से आप डाटा कलेक्ट करेंगे. Study should be based on the primary data. Primary data contains क्वेश्चनेयर, फिलिंग ऑफ क्वेश्चनेयर फ्रॉम द रिस्पोंडेंट्स. सो आपका एरिया क्या रहेगा इतने बड़े वर्ल्ड में से, which area are you going to work on it, and how which kind of persons, which kind of respondents you are going to target, from where you are going to get your questionnaire filled. That all you have to define it in the methodology. That's why we say it कि जो हमारा research proposal होता है वो हमारा एक blueprint है. And if the research proposal is prepared well, you should be mentally tension free, because more than 60% of your work is being done if your research proposal is prepared in a well formed way. So when you are defined with it कि आपने कौन सी method, कौन सा area लेना है, कौन से respondents लेने हैं, और उस area में से if we have selected one area, from that one area, how you are going to target the respondents, how you are going to collect the information from the respondents, how you are going to identify that yes, this person is going to be one of my respondents. That all you have to justify in your methodology. Procedure, how what I was saying it right now, that how you are going to identify that is also part of the procedure which you are going to carry on for working on the methodology. Now the question comes for the objectives. Objectives, as defined earlier, that it is a statement which mentions that what your research plan is targeting to achieve in the future. उसको achieve करने के लिए हमें क्या काम करना है? That is a part of our objectives. जो objectives हैं should start with an action verb and be sufficiently specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So they should be, in short, they should be smart enough. Objectives हमेशा smart होने चाहिए. Hypothesis, as you people are. Hypothesis, it is usually considered as the principal instrument in research. Hypothesis क्या है? This is basically some kind of assumptions. Assumptions क्या? जैसे हम economics में assumptions, law of demand है, law of demand supply है, उनको prove करने के लिए हम कुछ assumptions लेके चलते हैं कि भाई following things remaining constant and the price and demand keeps on changing. So in the same way, hypothesis को setup करने के लिए हमें बहुत सारी assumptions लेके चलना होता है. And while taking the assumptions, हम alternate null दोनों hypothesis avail कर सकते हैं, and we can make the assumptions कि भाई हमारा जो हम सोच रहे हैं, what we are thinking in our mind, वो सही भी हो सकता है और वो गलत भी हो सकता है. Many a times we find students panicking, like at the end of the research they come to us that with a problem that भाई हमारी जो hypothesis है, most of the hypotheses are being rejected. So is our study right? Yes, definitely your study is right, because your justification comes through the answering of the respondents. If your respondents is denying to the fact, then also your test is showing that the hypotheses are rejected. So why to worry about it? हम दोनों hypotheses ले रहे हैं, हम null भी ले रहे हैं, alternate भी ले रहे हैं, where we are collecting it just because to justify this thing that one of them can be accepted and one of them can be rejected. Probability is there. So probability lies on which part? Is only dependent upon the answer of the respondents. So it provides direction to the research, that how we are going to work. It defines what is relevant and what is irrelevant towards the research. It specifies difference between fruitful and fruitless research. It guides to the process of discovery, what we are gaining new out of it, that has been described through hypothesis. It enables the investigator to understand with clarity his problems and to select procedure and methods to be used for solving the problems. Not many answers are being there. Clarity आएगी, problem solving procedure आएगा, methods आएंगे, what kind of answers we are gaining it out from the research. That all is a part of hypothesis. Hypothesis formulation comprises steps, that is observation, reflection, deduction, and verification. After testing the hypothesis, researcher either accepts or rejects the hypothesis. So not to worry about this thing, 90% are rejected or 90% are accepted. So it is a wavering research. All research is always having a wavering assumption. It can lie towards any side. Established the null and hypothesis. These are the important things which you need to take care while preparing the hypothesis. That you launch a null and alternative hypothesis. Both determine the appropriate statistical test established different decision rules, gathered sample data, analyze the data, research a statistical conclusion, make a business decision. So these are the 8 steps which you should keep in your mind while defining the hypothesis. सबसे important चीज इसमें क्या रहेगी आपकी methodology में is the area and tools and techniques, respondents. ये सारे जो points हैं वो बहुत important है. Area is important because it will work as the route map. Google map अपने phone में लेके चलते हैं if you are going to reach any place. So if you are going to achieve any target of your research, you have to have a route map, and that route map is defined through the area. जितना अच्छे से आपका एरिया डिफाइंड होगा उतने ही अच्छे से आप अपनी रिसर्च कर पाएंगे, आपको आगे चल के उतनी ही प्रॉब्लम्स कम आएंगी. नंबर ऑफ रिस्पोंडेंट्स, apart from it, tools and techniques which are going to be used by the researcher in the research process. Then comes chapterization. This is also a very important part which will need to be mentioned in the research proposal. First chapter carries introduction, second chapter carries review of literature, third chapter carries research methodology, fourth chapter carries analysis and interpretation, fifth is findings and suggestions. Then comes the annexure. Annexure should carry your summary. Summary is the precise description of what work you have done. ताकि अगर मेरे जैसा इंसान जिसने कभी जानना है कि आपने क्या किया रिसर्च में, तो मैं आपकी summary पढ़ूंगी. I'm not going to read whole of your thesis. I'm going to read the summary, and then I'll come to know okay, what you people have done in your research. Then comes research papers published, papers presented, questionnaire. Questionnaire, most important thing, because this questionnaire will only justify your chapter 4 कि आपका analysis जो है वो सही है. And then plagiarism, that is also the very important thing for the thesis. And at last, resources and references will be counted. Now, the things which are to be taken care of. बहुत छोटी-छोटी चीजें हैं जिन्हें हमें ध्यान में रखना है. हम जब भी रिसर्च पे काम करते हैं तो हमें ये चीज ध्यान रखनी है कि हमने ऑब्जेक्टिव्स बना लिए, हमने हाइपोथेसिस बना लिए, we have framed a good title, we have done good introduction, but while preparing the proposal, we'll have to keep an eye, an eagle's eye on our results and discussion, because we'll have to think this much experience we will be gaining while preparing the research proposal from the review of literature, that we can judge what kind of result we can have, what kind of analysis output we can have while defining these objectives and while working or moving on this route map. So, us result or decision, I would not deny to the fact कि results को जानना research proposal के time पे is नामुमकिन, but to keep an eagle's eye watch on that is the priority. You'll have to keep a focus on it, that what kind of result you are assuming in your mind, we are working on it, that we have to take care. Common mistakes which are being done while preparing the research proposal. Failure to provide the proper context to frame the research question. Many a times we will fail to provide proper information to the questions which are prevailing there inside us while writing the research proposal. So before justifying ourselves in front of others, we'll have to first of all justify ourselves that what we are going to do. If you are able to answer the questions to yourself, it means you can answer and you can satisfy the questions asked by others also. Second is failure to delimit the boundary conditions of your research. हम boundary नहीं define कर पाते. I discussed with you that you have to define the area. That is the boundary within which you are going to work while working on the research proposal. So you'll have to limit. You have to limit the boundary, that in which area, in which boundary you are going to work on it. See, sometimes we'll say I'll work on this on the NCR. What is NCR? NCR को define करना is the biggest task. NCR word छोटा है, but it consists of a large area, and to select a target area from that precise bigger area is the most important. Failure to cite landmark studies. Well, we should cite all the studies which we are going to go through, make as a base for our research work. वो studies को cite करना बहुत important part है हमारे research proposal का. We fail to accurately present the theoretical and empirical contribution of other researchers. दूसरे research को we are not able to define them properly in our research. We stay focused on the research questions, failure to develop a coherent and persuasive argument for the research, the proposed research. जो हमारी proposed research है, we are not able to develop a very good argument between the questions and the answers which we are having towards the questions. Detail बहुत ज्यादा हो जाती है. कई बार इंट्रोडक्शन तो 10 पेज की बना देंगे हम रिसर्च प्रपोजल में, and we are not focusing on the review, we are not focusing on the research methodology. So all should go hand in hand. Route map should be well defined, and too many citation lapses and incorrect references. See, in research proposals, citation or references should not be in bulk. ये नहीं है कि हम 20-25 पेज का हम रिसर्च प्रपोजल बना रहे हैं and we are citing the references in 50 of number or 70 number. No, that should not be there. It should not be too long or too short. Guidelines for making a research proposal. देखो, before we start working on the guidelines for preparing the research proposal, let us define one thing. कि research proposal में एक छोटी सी चीज हमें जानने की जरूरत है कि this is not the problem. This is by preparing a research proposal is not a problem for us. It is a hub where we can write or describe our ideas. We are free to describe our ideas in it. We can define our ideas in it, and many people are there who can judge, who can answer, who can show us the right way to work on achieving those ideas. So we all are having an innovative mind. We all are having some innovative ideas in our mind, but the thing comes that we have to work on those innovative ideas. So the proposal is in effect an intellectual scholastic contract between you and your committee. That also I have defined it earlier. It's specified what you will do, how you will do, and how you will interpret the result. The objective in writing proposal is to describe what you will do, why it should be done, how you will do it, and what you expect will result. Being clear about these things from the beginning will help you complete your thesis in a timely fashion. If these fundamentals are clear in your mind, I assure you that you can accomplish your research work well in time. But if you are lacking in the answers towards any of the questions which we have stated right now, we cannot justify, we cannot assure that you people can accomplish your research well in time. So making our concept clear towards the questions is the toughest priority. See, if we are having any question in our mind, and if we are not asking, answer is no. And but if we ask the question and then we get the answer, at least we will not feel pity on answer कि यार काश मैंने question पूछ लिया होता, काश मैंने discuss कर लिया होता. So it is better always to make the discussion. It is better always to make the questions. जब आप अपने questions करेंगे and you get the answer towards it, then only justification will be there towards the satisfaction level कि हाँ मैं काम ठीक कर रहा हूँ या रही हूँ. A clean, well thought out proposal forms the backbone of the thesis. After research proposal, as stated earlier, if it is well defined, if it is well worked, if it is well stated, if it is well answered, then make sure that your thesis are going to have it as a blood to the body. Means that your proposal is going to work for the thesis as a flow. You will not be having any hindrance while working the research work if your research proposal is well defined. A good thesis proposal hinges on a good idea. Always a good thesis proposal lies on the good ideas. Once you have a good idea, you can draft the proposal in an evening. If the concept has struck in your mind, nobody can stop you from writing a good research proposal within a night. Proposals help you estimate the size of the project, how lengthy or how long it is going to take for accomplishing the proposal. Research, जब आप thesis लिखते हैं, what kind of things should be covered in that? क्या क्या चीजें आनी चाहिए? पहला, टाइटल. टाइटल आपका क्लियर है. उसके बाद आएगा abstract. Abstract states what you are going to do in your thesis. That means the introduction. Introduction. जब हमने रिसर्च प्रपोजल में इंट्रोडक्शन दो से तीन पेज की करी है, वही इंट्रोडक्शन अब हमें और डिस्क्रिप्टिव वे में कर. Then comes statement of the problem, which is a part of introduction only. Rationale, justification, or significance. You'll have to mention after the statement of the problem, you'll have to mention the significance of the study, scope and limitations of the study. Then comes review. This all will what we are going to discuss here. We are discussing the important heads which need to be covered in your research. Review of literature. Review of literature may you should, at the last of the review of literature, you should make a table in which you should define that how many reviews you have done in the most important, how many were the most important reviews which you have gone through. Means if you have gone through 70 reviews, then out of 70, how many were 100% relevant to your research proposal? If you find out of 70, 20 reviews were exactly similar, were exactly helpful towards your research proposal, then you'll have to mention it in the table along with their findings, along with their tools and techniques, and what kind of tools and techniques they have used. Or uske baad you'll have to show the research gap. After justifying the research gap, then comes the methodology used, and before methodology and research gap, you'll have to define the objectives and the hypothesis. क्या ऑब्जेक्टिव, क्योंकि रिसर्च गैप से हमारे ऑब्जेक्टिव्स निकलते हैं. सो आफ्टर रिसर्च गैप यू हैव टू डिफाइन द ऑब्जेक्टिव्स, देन हाइपोथेसिस, देन मेथोडोलॉजी. मेथोडोलॉजी के साथ आपको टाइम शेड्यूल भी डिफाइन करना पड़ेगा कि आप किस समय पर आपने डाटा कलेक्ट किया, किस समय पर आपने रिव्यू करा. बिकॉज if you are doing the review in the earlier stage and you are submitting it in the late, so there is a gap year in between. So that gap year should not be constraint towards your research. Your review should carry the researches. The review should carry all those researches of the latest years also, which are being done, in which you are going to submit it also. Then comes the budget or estimated cost build-up, because your cost is going to play a very big role in the limitations, because we all are not having so much fund that we can work on it and we can spend lavishly for working on finding solution to any of the research problems. So budget is always a constraint. Organization of the report, chapter outline, that also should be there. Then comes your conclusion, references, and annexures. This is the title page, which we were discussing earlier, which I told you earlier also that I'm going to give it to you on description in the last, that what kind of title page should be there. एक title page जो है वो आपके work को define करेगा, that how you people are working, how you people are accomplishing, क्या कर रहे हो, कैसा कर रहे हो, how you people are thinking, आपकी creativity कैसी है. If it has been maintained well, so take care of it कि आप अपने work को बहुत अच्छे से पूरा कर सकें. Abstract, just read about the abstract. So abstract क्या होता है? It is a brief summary of approximately 300 words. 300 words की एक summary होती है, which includes the research questions, the rationale of the study, hypothesis, and the methods and the main findings. Abstract में आपको crisp में define करना होता है that how, what, where we have to do. We have done in our study. Components क्या रहेंगे? जैसे अभी we discussed introduction. Introduction में हमने क्या cover करना है? Theoretical background of the problem. Statement of the problem. Statement of the problem is the definition, nature, and extent that we have to define in the introduction. Justification, significance. Significance में हम क्या लेंगे? Importance, addressing the national conflict problem, bridging the knowledge gaps, useful to the society or community, present state of affair, affected stakeholders. That all we have to cover it in the justification. Then comes the scope and limitations of the study. So in scope and limitations, we'll have to cover the boundaries, we have to cover the aspects and issues addressed, shortcomings of the research, that is resource and time constraints. That all are a part of scope and limitations. Next comes review of literature. Review of literature में हमने क्या cover करना है? We need to cover the researches so conducted. जितनी अब तक research हुई है, do one take care of one thing. Whenever we prepare the review of literature, always go in chronological order. Latest in the beginning and oldest at the last. You'll have to go in chronological order. Sometimes we go, भैया 2017 की पहले मिल गई तो सबसे पहले review we capture is 2017. Then while working on it, while starting the reviews, we find 2010 ki mil gayi. So after 17, we are just jotting down of 2010. No, this is not the right way to mention the review of literature. If you are citing any kind of review, then you will have to move in chronological order, latest to the oldest. Issues discussed, unaddressed issues, relevance to the present research, finding out information and knowledge gaps. That all is to be accomplished in research review of literature. Objectives. Now the point comes. Basic important part is objective. Now the thing comes consistent to the title. हमारे title के प्रति consistent होना चाहिए. Concise, clear, expressed in simple language, precise and self-explanatory. Should all be self-explanatory, distinctive, quantifiable, measurable. Two types of objectives: general, broad, overall, and specific. Broad होने चाहिए and specific होने चाहिए. This is the major thing which we have to cover up in the while stating the objectives. कि they should be broad. Broad means clearly defined होने चाहिए और specific defined होने चाहिए. Then we keep it optional, but I'll state that this should be a important part of it. कि आपको अपनी definition जरूर define करनी चाहिए. That what kind of definitions are being used in the research. That definition should also be defined in the research. Hypothesis, propositions subject to verification. कोई भी हो सकती है, null, hypothesis, null भी हो सकती है, accepted भी हो सकती है, rejected भी हो सकती है. Any kind of proposition can be there in the research. And lead the research. You need to lead the research with what kind of acceptance, rejection you gain from the analysis of the data. Methodology tools. कौन से होंगे? That depends upon the objectives and the hypothesis, data processing, analysis, information presentation techniques, आपका tools and techniques, appropriate approaches. Bibliography, references, conclusion, that all are a part. Now the most important tips. While preparing the research proposal, you'll have to take care that you have to read and read and read and read. जितना ज्यादा आप रीड करेंगे, जितना ज्यादा आप रिव्यू को पढ़ेंगे, उतना अच्छा आप एक रिसर्च प्रपोजल प्रिपेयर कर पाएंगे. और जितना कम समय हम पढ़ने में देंगे और कॉपी पेस्टिंग में ज्यादा देंगे, उतना ही वीक हमारा रिसर्च प्रपोजल तैयार होगा. While reading, make the habit of taking out the notes. जब आप notes बनाएंगे, then you will come to know that the fundas of the research are getting clear in your mind, and you are able to frame, and you are slowly and steadily you are able to achieve the target of preparing a good research proposal. Whenever you get struck, talk to your supervisor, talk to your experts, talk to your fellow friends. Discussing regarding your research, regarding the questions in your mind towards your research is the most important. Don't discuss in detail about your research, but discuss about the research topic again and again. While preparing the research proposal, हम एक बार अपना topic पढ़ते हैं, then we think कि ठीक है, हमें समझ आ गया हमने क्या करना है, and we start working on it. But do remember one thing. I promise you that if you start writing your topic again and again on a piece of paper while going through the review, while going for the objectives, while going for the hypothesis, do take care. If you are writing your research title again and again, definitely your funders are going to be more clear towards the research. And you will come to know exactly at the similar time whenever you are derailed from your track and your topic is in front of you, definitely you will be able to come back to your track and make your study defined on the track on. If you get confused, if you get afraid, make discussions. Make healthy discussions with whomsoever you find around yourself. You just make the discussions with the common people. You make discussions with your fellow friends. You make discussions with your expert. Making discussion is not a wrong deed. Generate a number of research questions. You can make lot many research questions. जितना ज़्यादा आप research questions prepare कर सकते हैं उतना अच्छा है. आप questions ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा frame out कीजिए. Synthesize research question on research questions पे answers find out कीजिए and cut down these in line with the coherent thinking. और उनको जितने research questions आपके mind में आ रहे हैं उनके answers को sort out करने की कोशिश कीजिए from your rethinking, your silence. While sitting silently and reading your work, while writing your title again and again and making the discussions, definitely help you in reaching the good research proposal. Common mistakes which we usually do while making the research proposal. It provides context to frame research questions. To provide context to frame research questions, to delimit the boundary. हम भूल जाते हैं अपने research को delimit करना. To cite landmark studies undertaken so far, हम citation करना भूल जाते हैं. To present accurate theoretical background to the study, हम कई बार ये भी भूल जाते हैं कि हमने background अच्छा देना है, हमने अपनी theory का, अपनी study का complete background define करना है. To develop coherent and persuasive arguments, हम इसको represent करना भूल जाते हैं. Too much detail, या तो बहुत ज़्यादा डिटेल में चले जाएंगे, और we can come to a short form, like 2 पेज में हमने पैक कर दिया अपनी रिसर्च को. Too much rambling, incorrect citation, too long or too short. So these are the various common mistakes which we need to take care, which we should avoid while making the research paper. Another thing, we should prepare a professional looking proposal. हमारा जो proposal है वो एक professional form में होना चाहिए. That should not be an unprofessional form. Sometimes people come along while writing it on a piece of paper that this is our research proposal. No, be a professional. If you are presenting something in front of others, that should be in a presentable form. That should not be on a piece of paper with handwritten writing. No, it should be perfectly in a presentable form. Make it interesting. It should be quite interesting so that this person sitting in front of you, the committee sitting in front of you, they should think, they should get interest in listening to your research proposal. They should get interest in interaction, whatever the high citations, whatever the things you are been highlighting in your research proposal, they should get interacted with it. Yes, you are having a very good bond towards your research. Make it informative and meaningful. It should be informative and meaningful. It should not be having leisure information which has not been required for the research. Write as much as you can, because writing is the easiest way of reading. हम अगर हमें कोई कहे, मेरे को भी अगर कोई कहे कि keep on reading, read this book, read this, these 10 books are there and you have to read these books and you have to tell us what was there in the book. So it is not possible for me to do it. So best way out is of doing the reading is to write down, to jot down, to make notes while preparing or while reading the books. Any kind of books if you are reading, and keep a pen and a piece of paper along with you and keep writing whatever the important facts you get out of that read while reading that paper. Just jot it down, make the points and try to use those points in your research work, which is going to help you a lot. Present content in a page. Whatever contents you are getting it out while reading, just present it. Just use it in your research proposal. Use clear headings, use subheadings, highlight those headings. Differentiation should be there between main head and the subhead in your research proposal. Be concise, be precise. Don't remember to be precise. Check spellings, check grammatical mistakes. Grammatical mistakes should be avoided. Present in accurate and acceptable form. Accurate and acceptable form will only be there when there will not be lethargic mistakes. Avoid such kind of mistakes. Don'ts. No words should be used in the research paper of which meanings are not clear to you even. Only those things should be used in the research paper of which the funders, the concepts are clear in your mind, because you can be stuck at any point of time while presenting your research proposal to explain the meaning of the word which has been mentioned in your research proposal, and being a sorry figure at that time is going to lapse your confidence on the research proposal. So do take care of it. Don't use such kinds of words which you are not able to explain while describing your research proposal. Use of difficult words, unimpressive to the reader, supervisor or authority, it should be avoided. जो हमारे unethical, unimpressive words हैं उनको हमें avoid करते हुए चलना चाहिए. That was all from the presentation point of view, but still, the things which are there in my mind, which need to be taken care, are that you have to think and think and think again while writing the research proposal. Research proposal likhna is not the difficult task. It is quite easy. But the difficult task is that moving on the right path while writing the research proposal. सही रास्ते पर चलना सबसे मुश्किल काम, और जब हम सही रास्ते पर चलेंगे तभी हम एक अच्छा रिसर्च प्रपोजल लिख पाए. और रास्ता क्या है हमारा? सबसे प्रायर मोस्ट थिंग इज मेक द फंडास क्लियर इन योर माइंड. आप अपने आप को क्वेश्चंस को आंसर कीजिए. क्या करना चाह रहा हूँ, क्यों करना चाह रहा हूँ, कैसे करूंगा, किस लिए करूंगा, कौन किसको मदद मिलेगी इससे, क्या जस्टिफिकेशन रहेगी. So ask these questions again and again towards yourself and start giving answer to these questions. When you answer, everybody is Einstein is on his own. Nobody, we cannot say कि Einstein जो था वो एक इकलौता अलग आदमी था. नहीं, there is an Einstein living in your mind also. You just start using your brain. You just start working with your brain, with the help of your brain, and you will find out that you can do a miracle while writing a research proposal. When you start answering, when you start talking towards yourself, you start along with it, start reading the books, reading the literature which exists towards the topic on which you want to work. And while reading the books, you get to the answers of all the questions which are there in your mind, which will help you in writing a good research proposal. तो आपको बहुत मदद करेगा कि आप एक अच्छा research proposal लिख पाए और उससे काम करवा पाए. उसके ऊपर काम करना, working on it, making notes will help you a lot while doing the research. Notes जो हैं वो आपके last तक आपको मदद करेंगे that how you are working. One important thing, do take care. आप जब review करते हैं तो review करते time you will have to keep all the data in record till the end. कि भाई हमने reviews में, if you are going from the review online, that Cite also should be cited in the references. If you are pasting any kind of facts and figures from the online source or from the printed source, offline source, that also source should be mentioned in that that what from where you have gathered that information. वो information कहाँ से gather की गई, किस ढंग से gather की गई, that should be mentioned in the context of source. Source should always be there कि भाई हाँ कहाँ से हमने information ली. Things should be clear. Objectives define कर रहे हैं, RM define कर रहे हैं. Objectives कहाँ से आ रहे हैं? हमारे review से आ रहे हैं. ऑब्जेक्टिव्स जो हैं वो क्लियर होने चाहिए कि भाई हमने क्या काम करना है, पहले हम स्टडी करेंगे, फिर हम एनालाइज करेंगे, फिर हम एवेलुएट करेंगे, फिर हम कंपैरिजन करेंगे. सो इट कैन बी अकॉर्डिंग टू द टाइटल व्हिच यू आर चूजिंग फॉर वर्किंग ऑन द for the research. So that should be taken care of. That was all from my side. Is there any kind of query from you people?
Yes, anybody? Is there any query? If you want to have any question.
Any question? I think all the concepts are clear from in your mind for this.
Might be all clear, ma'am. Thank you, Jaspreet ma'am. Thank you. What a wonderful presentation, and your hard work can be seen via your PPTs along with your flow of a presentation. Each and every aspect while preparing a proposal you have cleared via your PPTs. Along with the diagrammatically things you have make it much more alive, lively and lovingly. Hoping that students have got understood how to prepare their proposal. Proposal create a lot of problem when they are going to prepare their PhD topic. So while going to select your topic, go through the suggestions which uh, ma'am has elaborately explained in her presentation. So scholars,
I would like to add
participants.
Few students are asking about the sharing of presentation. Definitely, Bacha, you will be getting the presentation immediately after the session. Your host is having the copy of the presentation, which has already been submitted from my side to them, and they'll be sharing it soon with you in the group. So need not to worry, you'll get all the information collected.
So already do not go away for the easy things. Yes, surely we will share the PPTs. Try to furnish the things also from your side. So thank you, ma'am. Jaspreet, ma'am, you have cleared so many doubts regarding the proposal, the blueprint on which a scholar required to be go along with their research topic. So you have also explained what are the things required to be done, do's and do not things. You have also covered the review and highlighted how to chronologically arrange review. Actually, सभी समस्याओं की जड़ अगर कहें और सभी समस्याओं का समाधान कहें तो it is the review. More you want to become an expert in the field of research, please what ma'am has suggested, go and cite the review, go and you can say postmortem the review. Review is very much necessary, very much necessary.
Thank you, ma'am, for the review of literature.
Yes, ma'am. No, you have explained very well. And chronologically, things students are usually forgetting. They are haphazardly arrange them here and there by latest or by mixed or by the earlier type of review they are presenting. So chronological representation of the review is quite necessary. Along with that, you have also explained how to furnish your hypothesis, assumptions, your tools, your requirement of methodology to be adopted. Each and every aspect quite clear, quite you have provided insightful thoughts to be followed by the students. So from my side, from our department side, from the university side, and from being a participant also, I am highly thankful for such a wonderful session you have taken. It's my oblige and I acknowledge your presence here. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
So participants, do not go away. We will have another session at 2 o'clock. So please join us at 2 o'clock with another session. Dr. Tarun Kumar will going to take. And from today onwards, आज से research ethics जो है research ethics and research and publication ethics, which is your paper being included in your PhD course by the UGC. So from today onwards, you will going to cover that. So do not skip at any cost. This refresher course is not only prepared, not only programmed only for faculty members, but it is also kept in mind how to make your doubts clear regarding these topics, these aspects during finding out and bringing out, summing about your research problems solution. So that's all from this session. We will meet at 2 o'clock. You can take tea break and lunch break. Till then, see you soon.